Selamat pagi, or perhaps selamat siang in the meantime. Very nice to meet you, Ibu Carrina.
Very nice to meet you too, Ibu Ardi. Pleasure meeting you.
I'm very happy that you accepted our invitation to join us for this event in view of International Women's Day. We think it's important to celebrate this day and to showcase women leaders in Indonesia. And well, I'm very happy that you are prepared to have a chat with us about how you see the situation and what you do in your work at the Water Agency in relation to issues like gender equality and sustainability, climate change. Since you are new for me, I hope that you don't mind just to tell us a little bit about the Water Agency. What is it? It's, I understand, a social enterprise, and what your specific role in the agency is.
Okay, thank you for the time and thank you for the opportunity. It's a great pleasure to be here to have a chat with you. So a bit about the company. The Water Agency is a social enterprise originated from the Netherlands. We operated with little water hubs. So we have a water hubs in Jakarta. We have another one in Myanmar and another one in Vietnam. So we are active in these three countries, and hopefully we can expand more in the future across the Southeast Asia. We work closely with international experts on water challenges. Our mission is to bring this expertise and to help with the social groups, to help women, the communities, the affected communities around the water issues across Asia, to be impactful to the groups and communities around us. And my role is I am now the Indonesia Water Hub Manager for the Water Agency in Indonesia. So I am leading a team in Indonesia on these water challenges to build partnerships with the local governments, with the local small medium enterprises, connect them with the Dutch expertise, see what the government in Indonesia are doing and where they want to focus, see how we can best help with the platforms that we have. What kind of things that we could do together as a partnership between the Indonesian and the Dutch governments. I'm also now leading a program in Asia, so I'm working closely with my colleagues in Myanmar and also in Vietnam. We're learning together, we're exchanging knowledge because we are in Asia, so we have similar water climate issues. We have the similar climate. So we learn from each other and see how best we can equip each other. And I'm also proud to say that the Indonesia team and also the team in Myanmar and the team in Vietnam are currently fully strengthened by the female squad. So we all have, yeah, this is a very happy incident actually. It's a happy coincidence for us that we have this all-women squad across the Asia countries.
Let's zoom into that aspect a little later. Maybe I could first ask you, and thank you for the introduction, so we all understand a little bit better what the Water Agency is. Maybe to ask, what does International Women's Day for you mean? And do you think it's important to celebrate every year International Women's Day?
Yeah, thank you for the question. I feel that having International Women's Day is actually a very celebrated day for my company as well, for my colleagues as well, because we feel that this day we are celebrated, we are supported, and that we have each other. So the number of women in workplace is actually not that big. So having this dedicated day that shows that we are celebrated and we are supported by our colleagues, be it males or females, is very important to be a moral support to give us a sense that what we do is important, and then we can be impactful to our society. So I'm very happy that there's more and more attention to this day and to how women's participation is in the workforce.
Wonderful. Thank you. Maybe then moving to the specific theme of International Women's Day 2022, and from what you said during the introduction, a theme that would be very relevant to the work of the Water Agency, and that is gender and sustainability. Can you explain a little bit more in detail why it's important to apply a gender lens specifically to issues in the field of water and sanitation?
Okay, thank you for that. The water and sanitation is very close to women because in Indonesia or maybe in Asia society, it's still deemed as a women's course. So I still meet with women's mothers and daughters that apparently they have the chores to do laundry in the irrigation channel. But I do not see the same dads or sons being in the field, being in the rivers, doing the same thing. So it's still very much seen as a women's work that we do these chores, or like say we are in a meeting, but then suddenly it rains, and the women will excuse themselves to pick up the laundry. So I don't see how my male counterparts are doing the same thing. So it's still a very gender role things in Indonesia. So to get a better understanding by including women in how we see the importance of these water and sanitation issues, what they face, what they challenge, we can also bring a more impact on how it is for us to work, so that they could benefit from the work that we do, that we can also pick up the voices that are not usually heard, that we could see how actually the things that we are trying to do through the initiatives that we are trying to make, to the projects that we're trying to run, that we make sure what we do is impactful to the communities, because sometimes these voices are not heard, that we don't know that these issues are prominent, these issues are happening. So that's what we want to bring, making sure that there's a social inclusivity where we understand what the women, the marginalized community are facing, and so the things that we do, the projects that we are doing, the initiatives that we are trying to make, that can really be impactful and be benefited to this community. Because when you do something but it doesn't benefit everyone, then it's not a very good initiative. You have to understand that every voice matters, and then we have to pick up these voices. We have to make sure that they are being heard and that we understand their needs and try to work based on their customs, their traditions, and the way that they see things.
Thank you. I'm a little bit sad in a way, because as a student, when I was a young woman, a long time ago, I did some study, I performed some study on drinking water and sanitation and gender issues in relation to India. And already at that time, it was also very much a prominent issue, the gender aspect. Why do you think it's taking so long for us to have this gender lens accepted as a relevant perspective?
Maybe as I was brought up also in this society, that the values that we share is men should lead, that sometimes these voices, these women voices are not heard. That's why when you do not hear it, then you think it is not there. Effort so that we can listen to these voices. But yeah, because there's a lot of male-dominated world in engineering field, and also in the business, in the business world, mostly we meet with men, and then those are their opinions, but maybe not women's opinion in details, so that we don't really listen to what's the needs. So it takes quite a long time, because the women participation also is quite limited. That once we graduate, not a lot of my friends also continue with the work that they already did before they got married. So there's something lost in translation, that after marriage, it's like an end game for women. But no, you can still make an impact. You can still continue working in the things that you like. You can still be inspired. And women supporting women is important, because then you see that you are not alone, that this space is needed, that your contribution in the water climate issues are relevant. And yeah, I would really love to see that women can understand that they have an impact in the workspace. They have an opinion that would really be listened to. And then there's also a lot of women now. You can have a role model in every aspects, in every expertise now. There's a lot of women taking the leadership now. So I think it's a very good era for women to show who they are. And I see that already in the work that I do, that women participations from the engineering field, from environmental engineering, water social engineering, civil engineering, those are actually increasing. We have more participation in women, and then they are really supporting each other, and I can see there's a close relationship between women.
Thank you.
We are getting there.
I'm happy that you have an optimistic approach to the issue. I'm just curious, to what extent do you also see that increasingly men take up the women's cause, so to speak? Do you also see male colleagues advocating for the kind of gender equality that we're looking for?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. And I have been very lucky in my professional career that I meet with these men, like my colleague in the Netherlands, or my former colleague and now working in other companies. They always told me that you can do this. These are the things that could help you get through the career ladder. These are the things that we see you will be benefited. These are the role models in your industry that could help you learn about maybe your personal issues. This could help with your career advancement. Go talk to these people. So I'm really supported by my men colleague in the way that they understand that maybe there's a specific gender bias in the work that we do, but they are breaking also the boundaries by actively engaging me with the communications, with the meetings. They want equal participation. Also, I learned from my seniors, my colleagues in the Netherlands, the women. They are very strong and persuasive. They know how to put the opinions fully structured. So I learned a lot on how to bring myself to the table, to be taken seriously, and to also share what I thought. So I've been very lucky, and I hope that also men in other field of the sectors in any way could help women to also encourage them to speak their minds.
Well, I think you already are very capable in articulating your views. So great to hear. Recently, we had the International Day on Science, Technology, Engineering, and Maths, because these are fields where women's representation is also still limited, or at least not equal. You've studied engineering. Have you seen any changes? Is it now more normal for Indonesian young women to take up a study in one of these fields, STEM?
Yeah, well, I see when I talk to my former professor in university, I see that he mentioned there's more participation now in women, but not yet on the numbers. So in my class of 2013, one class is 40 people and 10 of them are women. So it's 1 versus 4. It's still a small number, but there's also happening in other fields. But now that my professor told me that there's more participation, maybe we are not looking at the equal 50-50, but we are getting there. So I can see that there's already, yeah.
These changes take time and it's gradual, but good to hear that also your professor is actively sort of looking into it. I also heard you say that some of your fellow students, female students, they did not continue in their field, and they got married and then stopped working. What do you think is necessary to make it possible for both men and women to get married, have families, but also pursue a professional career in Indonesia? or are there still obstacles that should be taken away, or things that could enable this equal participation in the workforce, in the labor market?
Yeah, thank you for the question. Actually, with COVID and everything that's happening, then we're now working from home. I see there's a potential for women to also contribute. They can work from home with flexible hours, and that really could help with the career advancement. Because sometimes what you really couldn't do is actually taking care of the kids while your husband maybe go to work, but you have to be full-time attentive to the kids. But sometimes with flexible hours, you can put on the hours where it's possible for you to be immersed with your work, be inspired. And I think it's a very good example that I'm not saying that COVID is a good thing, but it really opens another door and opportunity that we can see the way we work have changes. The way we work is now a bit more flexible. We can do it from anywhere in the world, in any time. And also the second thing maybe is for the daycare, because a lot of my friends actually they feel it's really hard for them to leave their kids unattended, or that they feel this sort of attachment as a loving mothers. It's really hard to separate with the kids. But if we have a good quality daycare, they could be a bit more relieved to put their kids in the childcare and then go try and go pursue their career, and then pick up their kids again after the work is done. But yeah, I think that the government could help in making this daycare is more well, make it into something that part of your initiatives, that you also have this facility where women feel safe to leave their kids for quite a while and then pursue their career advancement.
I sense from your answer that for now in Indonesia, it's still very much a women's responsibility to make sure that also the children are taken care of. Can you imagine an Indonesia where also men play this role? And if so, what is needed to get to that goal? Or that
it probably will take some time, but I see that from my male colleagues, so they really want to be involved with their kids from a very young age. But the maternity leave is only for mothers. There's not enough maternity leave. We don't have that yet in Indonesia. Maybe in some multinational companies we already have that, but it's not that common yet. So they also don't get to spend time with their newborns, but they have they have the needs also to spend more time with their newborns. So maybe there is also something that the government could start looking at, that there's equal participation in when the baby comes for the newborns. So there's equal paternity and maternity leave available for young parents. So they could also divide the role since the very beginning of the child's life. And this could later be brought up also within this small family, that the parents are equally involved and the parents equally also have the chance to pursue their professional career, that these kids will grow up understanding that there's equal role in everything that they do, that they see their parents also having equal role in their lives and in their professional life.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Thank you. I think very valid comments, and well, I guess every couple in a way has to decide, what works best for them. For instance, in my case, and maybe also because I have an international career, we decided, my husband and I, for a role reversal, and my husband became the caretaker of the children, and I was the one pursuing my professional career. But I agree with you. In the end, one would hope that both men and women can be parents, can take on the responsibilities, and also can pursue their professional careers.
Yeah, I agree.
Turning to the more specific issue or theme of this year's International Women's Day, I'm curious to hear your views on how climate change is impacting maybe the challenges that already existed in the field of water and the issues that you with the water agency are dealing with. What are those impacts and how does it affect the way you are working?
Climate change is real, but there's still several people that do not really believe in climate change, and yeah, that's something we need to advocate more. But in seeing between the climate change and the water and the resilience of a marginalized group in how they adapt their lives is still a very low perspective on how they could improve and adapt their lives to the climate change. Maybe the marginalized group, these local people, they probably do not use the terms climate change. It comes in many words, but they understand that changes are happening because I talked to several fishermen. So these are the ideas that they get. They don't use the terms climate change, but they understand a change is coming in how they fish, in the fish availability, in when they go sail and when they come back. It already changes from what the older generation told them about. So in getting this climate change into a specific item, we are also working in everything that we do, that we put this climate adaptation into something that we have to take into account, because it is too late to make changes when the changes is already here. So start with building the capacity that you understand that these are called climate change, and what are the local values that you already have in your place that we could adapt so that a wider audience, a wider group can also be benefit from those ideas. So bringing it first as a topic, and then we work on the adaptive measures to build the capacity. So when the changes is here, you are ready, and to be part of the group. Do not rely on external forces because it might take longer, but within your area, within your village, in your village level, make sure that you have the same understanding and that you have you have the same understanding, and then you have the same capability as well. You have shared the responsibility among the people, women, kids, the elders, the disabled people. Then you know what the type of people that are living in your village, and you already built the adaptive measures for them, and then you know how to do that. You know when it comes, what to do. Those are the things that we're really looking at now, the social inclusivity, and to making sure that climate change is an agenda in everything that we
do. Very interesting how you emphasize the importance of sort of unwrapping the concept of climate change and translate it into something that is familiar to people on the ground, because this is such a broad concept and people are affected in different manners. It's something that I also learned in another interview on the issue. So yeah, I think that's a very important message. I'm just curious, to what extent do you see that it really impacts men and women in a different way, the climate change, and what then does that mean for the way we respond to the challenges?
Interesting question. Yeah, in Indonesia, maybe we see a lot of stay-at-home moms. So the impact is different, because when the fathers leave for work, then the mother is staying at home and taking care of the kids. And when, say, the floodings that are usually only 1 meter high, suddenly with climate change and with everything that's happening, the drainage system not working very properly, the flooding height could be 1.2 meters. And these mothers, they are staying at home and they are taking care of the kids, so they have to be more adaptive to this. They have to understand that if this already happening, what they should do. But maybe the fathers are not there yet, so the mother have to be smarter in a way she protects her family. In different roles, maybe like I did mention that I met with some mothers. They are doing the laundry in the rivers and in irrigation channel. in case that the climate change having the direct impact on the water level and everything, then these women who are still supposed to do the chores, they are impacted quickly because they see what it is, how it's happening. When it's flooding, then they couldn't go to the river or to do laundry, and then they will be much more laundry tomorrow because, well, it's already there and it's still adding up to the number of things they do. So it's not that equal yet, but with the delayed work that you do, then the next day you have more work to do. So I think that it's still affecting women in way more than maybe we can imagine than it is for males, because women are more based on what we have this in Indonesia. Women are more attached to the society. They do the chores, so they are left with the environment they are in. So they feel this more than men. They feel this firsthand. They understand the challenges firsthand, and then that is why it's important to understand climate change from women's perspective.
Do you then also see women taking on more responsibility or being more vocal about the importance of avoiding climate change or preventing climate change? So more on the mitigation side. You talked about climate adaptation, but of course we also need to look into mitigation. Do you dare see a difference in how men and women take the relevance of climate mitigation seriously?
Maybe on a smaller level, that mothers can explain about the changes that are happening to their kids. But on the mitigation part, I don't see yet that much is happening, because also the climate change is not an issue that everyone understands on a more local context. So this is still something that we are trying to do, that you understand there are changes happening, and in international words, this is called as climate change. And these are the things that you could do to mitigate and then adapt to the situation. But I personally, maybe my lines are not that wide yet. I don't really see the difference between men and women on how they do the mitigation, because first, the climate change issues are not widely discussed yet by the local society.
Earlier on, you said climate change is real, and I think in a country like Indonesia, an archipelago, lots of potential for natural disasters. Do you think there is a need to make people, men and women, more aware of climate change and that it's happening? And if so, what do you think the government could do, and what could other actors in society do?
I will really start with the capacity building, so that first there are relayed information locally, making sure that we are close to these voices and that we can educate them first that these climate change are happening, and maybe it's already affecting you in a way that we would like to learn, so that we could identify this together with you and co-design on these interventions that might help you in adapt to the changes. The government maybe could start with doing things more locally, because now we have dialogues in every way, but it's very high level. So bring it down to the first level of the community, bring it to the village people, through the BNPB's resources. They have these agents localized everywhere across Indonesia, and to help this village to be adaptive to the climate change. I think there's already a good instrument in place. Only we need to make sure that they have the capability and they have the skills, the knowledge to relay the information in a very simple and everyday language that the locals use. So we are still discussing things in a very high level with cool and maybe difficult languages. But what we really need to do is to bring it more into the local, make it into an everyday conversation, and making sure that we understand each other clearly.
Thank you. Maybe you could tell us a little bit more about one specific project where the embassy and your organization worked together, the Healthy Rivers project.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the Healthy Rivers Challenge is a capacity building program. We targeted the youth, the change makers. We take the participation from local and the students. So we make sure that there's a 50% local students originated from the East Java province, and the other 50 is from other regions in Indonesia, from the top university, public and private university. We open the registration equally. So we actually, this interesting thing is we have more women participants in the Healthy Rivers Challenge. So the collaboration between the Dutch government and the East Java province is that there's a flooding issue in one of the rivers in East Java province, the Welang River. And this river has a lot of things. It has plastic pollution, it has a high rainfall, it has sedimentation. So we try to make this into a site. We collected the participants and we tell them these are the issues, but don't take our words. We will facilitate for you to go to the ground, speak with the local people and understand their context on how is this flooding affected this community, what's actually happening from the lens of the local people. So we facilitate for the students to go to the field with the local people, the local government, understanding their context, what are the issues, map everything out, and with the power and innovation from the youth, they come up with all sorts of ideas. So these ideas are already sustainable. They already taken into account the climate change that might be happening. They are making sure that there's an active ongoing business case. So there's also an incentive for local people to taking care of their environment and making sure that flood doesn't destroy your home. So these are the things that we are really love to do, to be the bridge between these young students to the real problems that they can see on the ground and how they are important in contributing their voices into the innovative solutions. So, and hopefully these solutions will be an inspiration to the local government and also the local people, the consultants, that these ideas could be implemented. These ideas can be explored and be put into actions. These are maybe crazy out of the box ideas from the students, but they are feasible.
Wonderful.
So we are,
very inspiring. Do you have an explanation why more women showed an interest in this project?
Yeah, because there's also we run these challenges from time to time. The Healthy Rivers Challenge are the second previous edition. So from this alumni network that we already have, I think that women supporting women is important, because when we track down how they know about the program, well, they have an alumni that told them these are a good program, and there's a equal participation, that they really taking into account the everything that we do, and they are not biased. They give equal opportunity and equal chance to you, so that it also motivates more women in starting to, okay, maybe this is something I am interested in, and let's see what happens. So they apply. We like their ideas. We like what they put on the essay. So we like how they are very motivated in their video, and we ask them to participate, because we see this little fire in their eyes, the way they talk, the way they want, they say how they can contribute, and we want them on this innovation, on these ideas that we are also trying to develop together with the local people.
Thank you. Yeah, no, very, very encouraging to hear this. We've talked a lot about, say, the local level and what your organization is doing there. This year, Indonesia is the president of the G20, and the issues that we've been talking about, and maybe at a more conceptual, higher level, are obviously also very high on the agenda of the G20. Do you have any hopes for what the Indonesian presidency could help realize in relation to gender equality, but also climate change and maybe the intersection between those?
Yeah, it's a great honor that Indonesia is we have this chance to host the G20, and then there's also a participation from all the countries, so we can learn also from each other on how climate actually have an impact to their countries and how they are trying to be adaptive to it. I really hope that there's more inspiration from women also, that you include the social and gender inclusion into the things that the innovation, the innovative that you're trying to do. On every agenda that you talk to, make sure that these voices are heard, that you take the time and the effort to also go to the local community, speak with the local people and understand how they are dealing with these issues. Because sometimes we are too high at the conversation that we forget to listen to these voices and understand how it is actually affecting them, the very people that are dealing with these issues.
Exactly, real people,
real people affected. Yeah. So I hope that there's more social inclusion and gender inclusion in every decision-making process.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Earlier on, you explained how your organization is also working in Myanmar and in Vietnam, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. And so you also emphasized the importance of exchanging experience. In that regard, I'm just asking myself, what could the international community here in Indonesia do in support of the work of your agency? How do you see more in general the role of the international community in raising issues like gender equality, sustainability issues here in Indonesia? Where can we be supportive and obviously not because we think that we have the answers. Many of the issues that you've addressed in your comments resonate with me, because there are also issues that we're still grappling with in the Netherlands. But so how do you think the embassies, the international community at large could also be part of the conversation in Indonesia on these issues?
With the collaboration, I believe there's a lot of collaboration and partnerships between the Netherlands and with Indonesia. So knowledge exchange, especially in the water sector, is important because then we could learn from each other. And the Netherlands is very famous for their waterworks. It's something we have a lot also in Indonesia, and we are archipelago countries. We have all sorts of water issues. So making sure that we have this ongoing education platform, knowledge exchange platform in learning the best practices that we have not only from the Netherlands, but also from the Indonesia. And making sure that there's an also participation from women that want to be participated. We give them the room to also speak their opinion. Because then we can learn also a lot of lands. We can learn from their fields on how certain issues affected them and how it could be improved. So I believe with the ongoing and the more and more knowledge exchange between Southeast Asia countries, especially because we share the same climate, so it resonates more, and the best practices with from the Dutch knowledge sectors. It could really help us with bringing more value into this type of knowledge exchange. So the ongoing education platform, the ongoing engagement platform, those could be a good instrument for us to continue working at the same direction to also reach the SDG goals together, so that in 2030 we have a more climate resilience communities in Indonesia as well.
Ibu Carrina, I've enjoyed very much the conversation so far, but I think I also have taken up already quite some of your time. So maybe a last question. I think we all once in a while need inspiration. maybe from role models to continue our work. And I would be curious to hear who are your role models in working on these very important issues, both for the Netherlands, but also for Indonesia.
I have a lot of role models. I learn everything. I sometimes take time to read their page and be inspired. I read some books also on leadership, not only from women but also from many others. Many others people as well. But I'm really inspired by our Ministry of Finance, Ibu Sri Mulyani.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's a very smart woman. She defends the Indonesian finance sectors very well. She has a good career and very close to her family as well. I think she's a very inspiring woman. She can balance it very beautifully between the work and the private life, and she's an inspiration to all, I believe.
Thank you very much, and I hope that soon we will be able to meet in person, because it's always, I think, even better if we can have an exchange like this in person. Thank you very much for your contribution, and all the best.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I hope that we can see some. Yeah.